God Collar, written and read by Marcus Brigstocke. This book is dedicated with love to my friend James. Wherever it was you went, this is for you. I'm sorry it has no spies or soldiers in it. Chapter 1. There's probably no God. There could be one, but I'm pretty well convinced there probably isn't. Certainly some people seem very insistent there is a God, and that the consequences of suggesting to the contrary will be painful and very lengthy. But if anything, this makes me less inclined to believe there is a God. Or if there is one, then he's probably not my sort of chap. It's possible that there was a God and he's hiding, or has grown bored with us. Maybe he's sulking, or just plain forgetful. Perhaps he's dead, or he's gone on a really long holiday. There are infinite possibilities as to where God might have got to, if he exists at all, but it seems to me he probably doesn't. The God that I'm fairly sure there probably isn't is the same God that many people are absolutely convinced there is. There might be another God entirely that none of us has considered, but the God I am almost totally persuaded doesn't exist is the one described variously as bearded, bathed in light, lives up in heaven, has a staff of angels, created heaven and earth, destroyer, judge, receiver of prayers and half-hearted hymnal dirges, prefers Jews to any of the other tribes, Jesus' dad, he who dictated Al-Quran to Muhammad in a cave, the fellow with the booming voice, 1/3 of the Holy Trinity, Jehovah, Allah, Almighty Father, Yahweh, the God they call love, he whose name is jealous, the God of Abraham, the God of the Jews, the Christians, and the Muslims. He probably doesn't exist. At least, I hope he doesn't. I'm an atheist. Well, I think I am, or I was. I might be a lapsed atheist, having a crisis of whatever the opposite of faith is. Facts. I'm having a crisis of facts. My atheism is quite wobbly at present. I haven't watched a David Attenborough documentary for months, and I don't have a pop science book on the go. These seem to be the modern standard for non-believers, and I'm failing in my irreligious observance. Forgive me, secularism, for I have sinned. It's been 6 months since my last confession. I've had thoughts of a spiritual nature, and I recorded MasterChef over the Professor Brian Cox documentary. I'd like to be comfortable with my atheism. It would be good for me and probably a relief for my family if the absence of a God in my life made me feel happy, but it doesn't. My best friend died a few years ago, and it broke my heart. The sudden and tragic loss of James, who was in his 30s, shifted a lot of my thinking and changed the way I felt about the world. It didn't stop me being an atheist. In some ways, it galvanized the suspicion that we are alone in the universe and there is no plan. But it made me think a lot. I'm a dad and a husband, and I try to be funny for a living. I feel sad and frustrated quite often. I miss my friend, and I wonder where he is. I had a God given to me when I was little, a family heirloom handed down through the generations without much thought as to his relevance or value. I'd have taken my God to the Antiques Roadshow and sold him if I'd had any strong feeling about him being worth something. I'd be curious to see the face of a believer as they were told to insure God for only £200 to £300. It wasn't really my God in any case, it was just borrowed. I also had an uncomfortably prickly teddy that was given to me at around the same time and felt much the same way about. I kept God and my teddy until I grew out of them both and became embarrassed to be seen snuggled up with either of the prickly little buggers. I lost God and the bear at some stage between 7 and 11 years old, I think. I didn't put them in the bin or anything like that. I just left them behind somewhere, and I'm very literally damned if I can remember what happened to them. Actually, I found the bear when my parents moved house about 10 years ago, but there was no trace of God at all. The movers might have had him, I suppose. I spent a few awkward years as a teenager being godless. Then a new God was given to me by some good friends who were worried about me when I was in my late teens and early 20s. We became close for a little while, God and I, but like so many relationships at that tender age, we lost contact with each other, and we haven't spoken since. I didn't start seeing other gods or anything slutty like that, it just fizzled out. We had different interests. I was a goth, God liked 1980s pop. I was without God for a long while, and that seemed okay. I didn't miss him, he didn't smite me, it was all right. Then I started to wonder whatever had happened to the God I'd known as a youngster. I began to know